What's going on? This is Quamon Fowler of Texas Tenor Music Academy, where I inspire you to create from your heart and soul. So, I've been toying around with this slogan, right? Create from your heart and soul, or play from your heart. And the reason why I've been wanting to keep that as my slogan is because that's the most that's the compliment that I get the most from different cats, or people who just enjoy my music. They always say that I'm soulful, or I hear that a lot, that I'm soulful, and they enjoy the tone, and they can feel the heart that I play. The place that I play from is from my heart, and that has been my motto. That has been my aim. Whatever I do, I want to create and come from the heart. And so what I've been doing is trying to up my game with my video production and my content that I would put inside of Texas Tenor Music Academy. I'm growing. And one of the things that I want to talk about here, when you create from the heart, there's a sincerity there, there's an honesty there. But at the same time, you don't have it all together. It's not like it's all glossy and incomplete. We're all incomplete. We're always learning and growing. But the whole idea, as you grow, you want to be better. You want to not be afraid to step out there and take risks and just do what you need to do, or just be honest, present what you have the best way you can at that particular time, and then you just move on. I've noticed or has observed this about myself, and even in others, when it comes to creating or playing from your heart, you have to be secure. You have to be secure. So when you talk about playing from your heart or creating something from your heart, you can't be ashamed of what you have. You can't be afraid of what people might think about what you do, because it's all a process anyway, and it's all a matter of information. The more information you have, the more knowledge that you have, the better you can present what you have. But at the same time, no matter what level you're at, you always want to just come from the heart and be honest, and that will stick with people more so than how clean something is, or let's say like a audio production, right? A lot of the music that we might have listened to coming up, for me, might have been analog, or it was one take or two takes in the studio, and that was it. Whereas now the emphasis is more so on the technology, and everything sounding pristine and really nice and clean, and they'll put auto-tune on the vocals, and there's no errors, where it takes away from the soul. It can take away from that raw, organic vibe that you get from the analog or listening to records or something, So it's something to be said about just the raw, organic, from the heart type of stuff compared to perfection, and I think when you're so concerned about being perfect, it can get in the way of you doing or completing stuff, So this whole concept that I'm dealing with, or my brand that I'm thinking about with this slogan, from the heart and soul, creating from the heart and soul, that's my thing, and everything that I do, from the playing, from doing these videos. My videos aren't the best. I mean, I learn and I watch myself, and I critique myself, and I make it better. but I don't let me not being like how these other creators are in terms of their presentation and even how they speak. I don't let that stop me from creating. You know, that inspires me to keep being better or keep creating to get my production better. Like, for instance, one of the things that I did a stream out here at this park, and I learned that I didn't need to do a stream because I'll keep getting those drops, you know, because the signal would drop out, and so a lot of the stuff that I was saying was not being received because the broadcast kept being interrupted. And also I noticed that at the time I didn't have a microphone, and so the wind was really bad. So what I did, I got a microphone and a windshield, what they call the dead cat, to go over it. So now it helped with cutting down on the wind. So I did an upgrade. So now I'm better than I was last week, you know, but I'm continuing to create and I'm continuing to grow as I create. And so that's what it's about when we create, period. Musically, you know, with my albums, that's my concept with even doing albums. We have these experiences that we go through. You capture that experience, you try to, you know, get the best out of that. You might have some mistakes, or you might have some things that you might not be able to correct, you know, unless you get the whole band back in or have a player come back in and retrack it. But at the same time, it's like, it is what it is. Whatever happened then is what happened. That was in the moment. So sometimes you gotta let stuff go. You don't want to do what they say, keep beating the dead horse. We did this session, and the session was nice. The session was actually really good. I think most of the songs were good takes. We did a couple, but in terms of the performance aspect, they were all like really nice, top of the line. So we only were able to do 7 songs in 5 hours. I did 2 versions of one, and I captured the video, and I had a couple friends in there, and one of them was on the cell phone. So it don't look that good on video to see him on the cell phone while we're playing. So I'm gonna have to do some stuff to edit him out. But you know, that's a learning experience. Next time I'll do something different. But I'm gonna go with it. There were some mistakes and things that I didn't like about that particular recording session, but you know, I have to correct it on the next one. You know, but with what I have to push forward and put that out there. So you'll actually see my growth. You know, you'll see my growth from the older videos that I've done until this one, and then after I put out this one, you know, from there I'm supposed to push and get better. But I would tell you this, the audio sounds better. I think the audio was really captured well on this last CD I recorded, and you'll see it, you'll hear it rather, once everything gets done. But yeah, but the whole point, my philosophy, you know, is to create, be honest, sincere in what you do. And if that's the best you have at that particular time, that's the best you have. Be unapologetic for it. You don't want to be insecure. You don't want to be concerned about what other people are doing. You just want to finish. You want to complete the work that is started, you know, that you start. You don't want to get into a issue where you're always questioning what you're doing, and you're afraid and being concerned about other people's opinion. No, pay attention to your own process and keep producing, keep doing what you need to do. Don't be distracted, because it's easy on YouTube too. You know, YouTube, Instagram, you know, Facebook or whatever, you looking at what everybody else doing. Like some of you might be looking at my stuff like, I got to get my stuff to his level or whatever. But I mean, we're all at different places in our journey, and you have to look at what your next step is, and you have to do that well. You can't do take the next step when you're not looking at what you're doing. Of course, now we used to walking. I don't have to look down at my feet to walk. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to your development on your instrument, in your career, or at your job, or whatever position that you hold, in order for you to be good at what you do, you got to pay attention to what you're doing. You got to be focused to the point where you're not concerned about what everybody else is doing. Your duty is to do what you're supposed to do so that you can do a good job for your boss or for yourself, or whatever it is that's motivating you. You have to stay focused and do what you're supposed to do. And that's what I do. I mean, that's what I try to do, and I try to tell my students the same thing. Sometimes we can get so distracted or miss the point when we're studying other musicians or studying other people. Sometimes we can miss it to where we get so wrapped up in them and we lose focus on what the main point is. It's like you study people to get information, to get perspective, to get wisdom, from them going through a process and doing things that you haven't done. We can learn from those people, but at the end of the day, you got to look at your situation, look at what is feasible for you, and never take too big of a step to where it's too much for you. Only bite off as much as you could chew. Think about what's for you, and that's what you do. It's something, you hear the term, or you might have heard the saying, what God has for you is for you. That's true. And you also heard the term where God will never put more on you than you can bear. And that's true. But we'll put more on ourselves than we can bear. And we'll be stressed out and feeling, depressed and overwhelmed. But that's not God's fault. That's because we were focusing on the wrong things. We were trying to do stuff that wasn't assigned to us. We were confused in our head because we didn't know our identity. But your identity is going to come from your roots. Your identity is going to come from your roots. And what I mean by that, think about it. What's your roots? Your parents. And what you invested your time in the most coming up as a child is going to be natural for you. So let me give some perspective. When I came up, even with the video thing, my dad got a camera when I was like 12 or 13. He would always be videoing family reunions and family events and stuff like that. And so I would get the camera and do record me and my friends playing basketball, and I would do commentary over the top of it. And I would play the saxophone and record myself. I would do sermons and stuff. I would read the Bible and act like I was a preacher, and I would do that in the camera. So that's something that I always did. And by the time I was 14, I ended up getting this multi-track recorder. It was a 4-track Tascam recorder, tape recorder. And so I started recording myself playing along with Jamie Abersol play-alongs. So I was always producing. So that's something that's natural for me. I was always kind of a do-it-yourself type of person, musician, when it came to audio and video recording. And but that's my roots. That's my roots. My dad started it, and I picked it up and kept on going. And now I'm using YouTube. I'm using Instagram. I'm using Facebook to share my message, which is creating from the heart and soul. So that's it. Just wanted to talk about that and encourage you to create from your heart and soul. Stay focused, finish, complete the ideas. Anybody can start ideas, but it's the thing that separates the men from the boys is the ones that can complete the good ideas. All right, I'm out.